What up, people? Welcome to episode number 62 of the My Player career mode here on FIFA 18. Today's episode features 4 games. We get into the Champions League knockout rounds with the first leg tie-up against Ajax. And also, there is news regarding Ben's transfer request, which he handed in the last episode. Of course, if you missed it, then you want to go back and check it. He handed it in, and we'll see whether or not today that gets accepted, and maybe we'll get a little confirmation, or we'll get something from Ben as to why he actually handed in the transfer request, in the first place. So I saw a lot of comments from a lot of you people out there in the nice comment section, as your support is always incredible, and it seems like there's mixed reviews in terms of what you want Ben to do, whether or not you want him to leave, or whether or not you want him to stay at Real Madrid and become a legend. But I did run a poll on this, of course, before, like at the back of the last year, in terms of last season, and the poll actually ended up being Ben leaving Real Madrid. That was what won the poll. So it's interesting to see that a few of you still want him to stay and make a name for himself and become a club legend at Real Madrid. But if I'm looking at it from an outsider's perspective, when you consider how much he's done for the club, the fact that he's still not allowed to even take a free kick or penalty is outrageous, because he's had situations where he's won free kicks in the past and won penalties in the past and just not allowed to take it because for some reason they're giving it over to other players and not even allowing him to showcase what he can do. But one thing he can do is score goals, and he gets his 14th league goal of the campaign here in this first game up against Eibar. As you can see, it's a good pass through from Marcus Rashford, setting him up, and he ends up taking this nice and quickly. He didn't 100% know where the goalkeeper was at that stage, so it was more of just a reaction kind of thing. So when he gets through, he's just going to try and send it the goalwards, and he does just that, and the keeper, unfortunately for Eibar, cannot find a save. And straight from that, we move into the 90th minute. It was a game of very, very few chances. Xherdan Shaqiri here on this right-hand side feeds Ben. Ben into Isco. Isco for 2. And Eibar were sunk by 2-0. So, honestly, this first game was very, very poor from both sides. The chances, the final ball was off for both teams. I mean, you looked at the first goal, which Ben scored, and as soon as he got that one, of course, all he had to do was kind of, control the play and not allow Eibar to get back into the game. But truth be told, the chances, the final ball was just bad. It was really, really bad, and it wasn't a nice game to play, let me just say that. So, for Eibar, they didn't do enough to really get themselves back in this one, and Real Madrid, to be honest, didn't do that much in order to make sure the 3 points were coming back with them. But in the end, it's going to look convincing with a 2-0 win, a clean sheet as well, 3 points in the bag, and Isco also on the score sheet. So Ben's 14th goal of the season takes him now to the top of the top scorers list in La Liga as well, which is just crazy. A centre-attacking midfielder being at the top of the top scorers list. And as the game got back underway, the referee did bring it to a close. So that's confirmation there that Madrid have won game number 1. I have a soft spot for Eibar, to be fair, because if you remember back to the Road to Glory career mode of FIFA 17, of course, we signed Riera Canadell from Eibar in that one for like, what was it, 550k or something like that, and he went on to be like a series legend. So I've got a little bit of a soft spot because he came from Eibar. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'll have to do something in the future with Eibar as the team. So anyways, but straight out of that game there, we got news back regarding Ben's transfer request of last episode. So Barca winning their game against Athletic Bilbao, I think that is by 3-0. Just again increasing the pressure on Real Madrid at this stage. It's like they're matching result for result, but I think there's a 4-point gap or something like that at the moment to the top of the league. And we get the email back regarding the transfer decision, and you can see that Zidane goes ahead and accepts it here. It says he's considered it, and he's decided to grant your request. He will be added to the transfer list immediately and let me know when an offer is suitable. So Ben took to Twitter for the first time in a very, very long time to say this. I'll release a longer statement regarding my transfer request decision at a later date, but for now know that I am committed to making sure that my performances for Real Madrid will still be the best that they can be. So, he's just assuring his fans that at the end of the day, although he might have his heart set on going elsewhere, he's still going to be committed to Real Madrid. He still has a chance at doing a second Champions League trophy. He's got a chance as he's in a Copa de España final, and he's still got a chance at winning La Liga as well. So he still needs to remain committed in those fronts. But I have to admit, I don't know what you guys kind of feel about this, but for me personally, I looked at this and I thought, since he's been at Real Madrid, if you remember when he first signed, Zidane kind of attacked him in the media when he first came, saying that his performances weren't good enough. I feel like Zidane doesn't really trust Ben as much as he possibly should. And that might be a key factor as to why Ben might want to leave the club. Because for any player of world football, a lot of the time, they want the trust from their manager. And with the aspect of Ben not being given free kicks, with him not being given penalties, with him not really, I guess, being given the chance to shine in certain areas, do you feel, down in the comments below, that Ben is trusted 100% by Zidane, or do you think there's that little bit of it that maybe they don't get on behind the scenes, both of those guys? Because although he seems to be in the team a lot, he doesn't really have a lot to do. You know, at Spurs, he was taking corners. He took the occasional free kick if he got it. Whereas this time at Real Madrid, he doesn't even take the corners. It goes to somebody else to take them. So I feel like Zidane doesn't really trust him as much as he possibly should there. If he's one of the best players in the world, he needs that trust from his manager. And inside this second game now, as you move into the Champions League knockout rounds, Ajax are going to have a massive job on their hands at keeping Ben quiet here. You can see there his initial effort coming back off the post, and as you move out of that chance, there isn't too many minutes between that one and this one happening. A great turn in the middle of the park there from Ben, just does a defender, gets through, it just opens up the space for him, and there is absolutely no chance for the goalkeeper. It's like a carbon copy of the first chance there where he hit the post. This time, it's golden. It finds the back of the net, and that's what I'm saying. I feel like Ben needs the trust of his manager, and whether or not he's got it from Zidane, I don't know. I mean, you guys can have your saying it down in the comments below, but certainly speaking, I feel like he's still not necessarily been given the roles or the ropes like Ronaldo would have been if he'd have been the best player here at Real Madrid. Maybe that's kind of the thing. Maybe Zidane still believes in the Ronaldo factor, and maybe didn't want that to happen, therefore doesn't want to put too much pressure on Ben. But I don't know, I just feel like, you know, he's 95 rated, or 94 rated, sorry, at the end of the day. He can handle that pressure. So, into the last few minutes of this first half here, you can see on the stroke of half-time, it's Aubameyang to Ben. Ben over the top towards Xherdan Shaqiri. And a questionable decision from Shaqiri. What could have been a second ends up being absolutely nothing at all. He had space, he had time, he could have taken a touch there. For some reason, decides to take it on the volley, gets it completely wrong. And it's still only 1-0 to the visitors here. And it could have got worse because Ajax, the home side, the fans wanted them to show something. And it took 79 minutes in order for them to do so. And it was a very tame shot in the end. But luckily for Madrid, they've come to Ajax. They've got the job done. They've got the away goal. They take a 1-0 aggregate lead into the second leg. It's a very slender lead, but it's one that you can't really, I guess, turn your nose up at. Because you can see by match facts once again, I just felt like there was a lack of creativity at the moment, and that is not a good sign. You know, we looked at it in game number 1 against Eibar when it ended 2-0, and there was literally 2 chances. And then there against Ajax, you know, we create 2 opportunities again, only taking 1 of them this time. There is that little bit of lack of creativity, I guess you could say, at the moment. So there's a 4-point gap between Barcelona and Real Madrid at this current time. Real Madrid, of course, top in the division. Barca down in second after 22 league games have been played. And, most importantly, Real Madrid have only lost 1 game this season. They could have been fully unbeaten if Ben didn't make that mistake earlier on in the season and give away that chance that led to them losing the game by a goal to nil. I can't remember 100% who the opponents were, but I do remember that it was Ben's mistake which caused that. So, you know, there is that little bit of, I guess, in the back of my mind thinking if he hadn't have done that, maybe it would have been an unbeaten season on the cards. But this is how ridiculous this is, guys, because Real Madrid are top. Then after that, I mean, you've got, just after that, you go from Real Madrid being top to Barca second on 4 points behind them. Behind that is Atletico Madrid, who are, I guess, about 8 or 9 points behind Real Madrid. And then after that, it's a ridiculous gap to 4th place. It's something like 15, 16 points between Real Madrid and 4th place. So it really is effectively a 3-horse race. And I guess you could even say maybe only even a 2-horse race, because Atletico still have a massive job to claw back the point gap that they've got to Madrid. So right now, it's shaping up to be one of those seasons of Barca against Real pretty much. And 17 minutes into game 3 against Getafe here, Bale finding Ben on the edge of the area, finds its way through to Llorente, who in the area should do better in my opinion with that one. He's not too far out. He goes for power rather than accuracy and ends up hitting it over the top of the crossbar. It's inches wide. It could have quite easily just dropped into that top corner, but sadly wasn't meant to be, and it ends up going wide. So the first chance of this one is squandered, and if the first 2 games are anything to go by, there might not be many more chances coming the way of Real in this game. As I say that though, 28 minutes in, Ben again picking up the ball in a really dangerous area, just looking for some space, and you can see he's got 3 players trying to get on him there. He's going to be heavily marked as well. That's one thing to remember. When he's a danger man, he's going to have players on him, and Casemiro there goes close with that one. As we move into the second half now, there's not too long left in the game, and you're thinking that this one might be heading for a 0-0 ball draw. Ben turning inside, great footwork for your 4, unleashing a left-footed shot, but the keeper gets a hand up pretty well there to deny him what would have been the opener in this one. And then from the corner, they go short. Ben on the ball again here, arguably could have been taken the corner. It's a poor cross whipped in, but it's beaten away by the keeper. It finds its way to Ben again somehow, who dips the play to the other side on this right-hand side now to the right back. Gets a really good ball towards the back stick. Ben continues his run towards the middle, and he just doesn't get the header right at all. He's not known for his heading, so you can kind of let him off, but it was a disappointing, I guess, end to what could have been a great move. As we move into this last 20 minutes, all-out attack from Real Madrid now. Rashford here inside the penalty area, gives it back to Ben. They really are just trying to work the space. Look how many bodies Getafe have got back there. Passes back inside. It finds its way to the area. Aguero back to Casemiro. Casemiro through to, I think it was Sanchez, or it might have been Eric Bailly, one of the 2 of those guys. It was actually Isco, sorry, not Casemiro, who finds himself in the middle. And unbelievably, Real Madrid have got the lead with 15 minutes to go. When I saw that goal go in, I thought that is basically champions luck, basically. To call it a word, it's champions luck. Because in a game where they've been shocking, creativity's been lacking, the final ball's a little bit off, they just needed something to go their way. And it just so happened that a block shot from our number 5, which is Eric Bailly there, would find its way onto the head of Isco, who would be able to put the home side 1-0 up. That is the champions luck that you need in order to win trophies, and Real Madrid just got it there. So 1-0 up in this one. Getafe had really not offered anything in the way of attack, but defensively they were so close to getting themselves a 0-0 draw here in this one at the Santiago Bernabeu. Luckily for Madrid, though, they did come away with the points on the offer there. So it wasn't the greatest performance in the world, but it's 3 points nonetheless. And as Ben said earlier in his tweet, he will remain committed to making sure that Madrid are playing well and getting themselves the results that they require in order to win their trophies. So as it stands, the 4-point gap is now still intact, depending on how Barca get on in their game. Luckily for them, they have to follow Madrid. They weren't playing on the same day, so we'll have to wait and see how that panned out. You can see, though, Bilbao losing a fair few many games, comparing it to last season when they had a great run of form and they were up there. This year, they're off the pace a little bit, and that's to be expected. You know, you can't really have one of those seasons where you have an unbelievably good year. I mean, look at Leicester. They won the league, and then the next year were fighting relegation for a time. So it happens, you know. There is kind of situations where it does happen. So for Bilbao having a great year last year, it was always going to be tough to kind of build on that and maybe replicate it. So I'm not surprised to see them in the current form that they're in. They're still up there, though. They're still in the top 6. I know that for sure. And they're probably going to be up there come the end of the season as well. As we go into the final game of today's episode, I forgot to show you which the 2 teams that got through to the Copa de España final and who Real Madrid, of course, will be facing in that final. I apologise for that. I'll remember to show you it in the next episode if I can remember to do that. But this game against Espanyol, on a day where it's been a bit hit and miss for Madrid, they're lacking creativity, it's going to be a tough one, this one. So 15 minutes in as Ben finds his way to a really good area, unleashing a left-footed shot, and again wasn't too far away from opening up the scoring. The issue that I found today was that when he was on the ball, Ben, he did have 2 or 3 players around him, which is something that the best players in the world football do have. You know, they tightly mark them, but usually he was able to get away from them. But it seems like today he's just not having that kind of impact on the game. As we move into the 32nd minute, great play from Aubameyang, setting up Ben, and once again he had 3 players around him, yet he got away shot again, but the keeper made a great stop to deny Real Madrid an opener. And then from here, guys, it is just an absolute bombardment of corners. The initial one is great. It's a great short corner set piece as Ben finds the head of his teammate there. And then another corner whipped in towards the middle. This time, though, it is ended up with for another corner because the man on the edge of the area, I think it was Casemiro, wins the header. And eventually, as Ben's trying to take that defender away there, Espanyol end up dealing with this final corner whipped in and they clear the ball away. So 3 corners in quick succession, but Real Madrid failing to make any of them pay there. As we move into the last minute of the game now, it's 0-0. Ben with one last opportunity, whips a good cross towards the middle, and there was Eric Bailly with the header goalwards. But sadly, it went over the top of the crossbar and didn't manage to find the back of the net. And as the goalkeeper got the game back underway, It looked like it was heading for a 0-0 draw, but there was one last opportunity. Rashford to Ben. Ben with a thunderbolt of an effort, and he sees it come back off of the upright. Sadly for Real Madrid, they couldn't find their breakthrough. They have been held by Espanyol there, and they will only get a point out of that one. You can see the fans not too happy with the players there, and I'm sure a few of them not too happy with Ben's decision to hand in the transfer request, giving him a little bit of grief there. And you can see, as it stood, it was a 0-0 draw. So until we know how, I guess, Atletico have got on, until how we know that Barcelona have got on, we can't really say what the gap's going to be. But I know for sure, as of right now, it's a 5-point gap, and all the games have been played evenly. So Barca must have dropped some games here and there because the gap has opened up again. That's how the table looks, though, currently, guys. Bilbao are in 4th place, but they're fighting with Eibar and Villarreal at the moment for that other 4th place spot, so we'll see how that pans out later on. But if you enjoyed today's episode, a like would be greatly appreciated. As I said earlier, let me know what your thoughts are on Ben's transfer request down below in the comments. It's always nice to read your comments. And thank you for your continued support. As always, you guys are absolutely incredible. I will see you all again at 4 PM UK time tomorrow for yet another video. Don't miss it, guys. I'll catch you all then. Adios.